Hi and welcome to the 2022 Q&A video. Glad that you could make it. First of all, thank you so much for the amazing questions. There were a lot of them. In fact, there were too many to fit into this video. I was planning even editing until I realized that it would have ended up being an hour long. So I took the liberty to summarize the most asked questions and limit the video to those as well. For all others, I will be replying directly to your comment, which I hope will suffice. I'm really sorry I couldn't include all of them. I also split everything up into 3 chapters, starting with keyboard-related questions, then the personal ones, and finishing up with YouTube production and the channel in general. Regarding the giveaway, I will announce one winner at the beginning of each chapter. I used a random picker that I fed with all of your names from the community post, and after each round, I'll remove that winner before repeating the process again. With that being said, I want to thank you again so much for watching the videos. I'm really grateful for all the incredibly kind words and feedback you've been giving me throughout the year and in the community post as well. Really, thank you. But enough cheesiness. Let's get on with it. Alright, let's see who the first winner is. Congratulations! I will be replying to your original question in the community post on how to get in touch with me for the shipping details, so keep an eye out for that. For now, let's start with the first question. When and how did you get into custom keyboards and what keeps you going? My first mechanical keyboard was probably some old IBM piece that I unbeknownst used when I was a little kid, but I think the question is geared more towards recent discoveries. The first keyboard related video on this channel pretty much sums up my entry into the hobby. You can watch it after this one or jump straight to it by clicking on the thingy on the top right here. But to sum it up, what got me ultimately hooked were probably the keycaps and photos of the amazing builds that others came up with. I remember seeing an HKKB with a set of SA kanji keycaps. I fell in love right there and knew that I had to have one. The Keychron K6 was the first board that really got me hooked. I then bought the RamaWorks Thermal, which I am still waiting for. Maybe that one will be my last board too, who knows. Would be funny though, first bought, last to be used, but it's unlikely. As to what keeps me going, well, it's the sheer amount of customizations and the ever-growing options of amazing looking boards and caps. For me, it's very much about the looks. If it makes me happy when I look at it, I probably want it, and so far, there has always been something new that made me smile and therefore want. Any tips for a newcomer? Don't spend what you can't. As much as you might be tempted to get that exclusive piece of kit, there are a lot of times when you could fall victim to the fear of missing out. The time-sensitive and limited group buy systems don't help here either. Although it doesn't apply to everyone, I still think a cheaper entry model is the best way to go. Anything mechanical around the $100 mark should do it. Keychron has some great entry boards that are really affordable, especially their V-line. They can sometimes even be bought locally from a big box store. In the end though, and please don't shoot me for saying this, it's just a keyboard. You can live without it. It's pure luxury from every way you look at it. Nobody needs this, but it is very, very fun and very nice to have, so just be patient, be sensible, and if you can go to a meetup, speak to others, try out all the boards there and find out if you like this. What board did you regret buying or is the worst one yet? From the ones I tried, probably the Creator board from Work Louder. What's your endgame keyboard? To be perfectly honest, I don't know. Whatever it is, I haven't experienced it yet, nor do I know whether or not it has actually even been made. It could be anything. Maybe the Geist machine is the world's greatest keyboard. Who knows? But I do have favorites. What's your current favorite? My current top tier board is the Spring from OLAB, although a recent newcomer that is the Brutal V2 has really caught me off guard. But yeah, once I'm done with the keyboard video, I usually return to the Spring. It's an amazing board and ironically I never made a video about it. I just wish the wrist rest that they sold matched the rest of the board. It's a real pity. It doesn't look too bad though, but it would look so much better if it matched. Would you ever want to design a keyboard yourself, and if so, what would it look like? Probably an LS or a super wide board like the GeonWorks W1AT. I just really like wide boards. I don't need the buttons. I just really like it if they're wide. But I also think that I would be horrible at it, so it's very unlikely that I will ever try. I enjoy food, but I absolutely suck at cooking. Alright, let's see who's the lucky number 2. Congratulations! Again, I will reply to your original question in the community post on how to get in touch with me for the shipping details, so keep an eye out for that as well. What's your background and what do you do for a living? Also, how did you learn to do this? I used to be a programmer. Currently, and for the last couple of years, I am a project manager or a product owner working in IT. I basically stare at the screen all day, sit in meetings, type on my keyboard, and pretend to understand what the engineers are talking about. I have made videos before starting this channel though, but mostly private ones, like holiday movies and skits with my friends. I also did some short films a couple of years ago with my friends as well, but haven't done so since I started the channel. I really appreciate all the positive feedback regarding the B-roll and cinematography. I would say that my personal interest in film is to thank for that. I get a lot of inspiration and ideas from other channels I watch and try to adapt as best as I can to the limitations that my small space allows me to. I also have a few friends who are really into cameras. They helped me a lot in the beginning in making the right decision, explaining things like sensor sizes, focal length, aperture, and so on. But I also learn something new every day, and I think there's still a lot that can be improved. Not everything is doable though, but I have a few ideas to change things up in 2023. I hope you're gonna like them. How is the cable management going with that Kabelkanal? What other hobbies do you have? Well, making videos is probably my primary hobby right now. And then there would be watching movies, gaming, playing guitar, playing with a synthesizer, cycling, and tech in general. I love all gadgetry things that are weird and wonderful. In recent weeks I have been trying to get back into photography a little bit, although it has to be said that saying photography makes it sound a bit weird because in reality I just like to take pictures, which I then post nowhere. If you're looking for another hobby to sink an ungodly amount of money into, cameras are here to welcome you and your wallet into their soft and cushy embrace. What is the status of your Meshlicious build? I'm really sorry about the lack of updates on the Meshlicious. I wanted to upgrade, but when EK announced their new small form factor block pump reservoir combo, I really wanted to wait in order to try that one out, but they have yet to release the AM4 version, although by the looks of it, it'll be an AM5 with downwards compatibility to AM4. The system is still running fine though, and you are supposed to change the water on a yearly basis, which worries me a bit. I have toyed with the thought of going hardline as well. That would be an interesting adventure for sure. I don't think I'll exchange any of the hardware components anytime soon though. Not because I don't want to, but because it's very expensive. I know that may sound like an excuse coming from somebody with a 3090 and the 5950X, but I bought that hardware to make videos and it is still very capable, so there's no need to upgrade, even if I would love to for the sake of content. I honestly would also love to try out a Mac Studio with an M1 Ultra just to see what the real difference is and how it compares to a full-size GPU when being constantly used. What's your favorite cheese? Parmesan on pasta, soft smelly cheese just to eat, and cheddar in anything that is wrapped or in between buns or bun-like things. And for one last time, let's see who's the lucky one. Congratulations and thanks again to all who participated, and sorry if your name wasn't picked. It may not make up for it, but I can send you some cheese stickers if you want. Just hit me up via mail containing your address and the subject line, "Give me stickers," and I'll send you some free of charge. What's the story behind the name Cheese Turbulence, and does it have a meaning? A friend of mine, Mr. L, actually came up with the name. We were sitting at the round table when I pitched the idea for the channel. Originally, I wanted to call it something else, with the goal of the name being ambiguous so it would match any content I would potentially make. He just threw it out there. We all chuckled for a couple of seconds, and that was enough to convince me. As for the meaning, I'm lactose intolerant. How are these videos made, hardware and workflow wise? For the hardware, there is a complete gear list on kit.co, which is linked in the description below. I also have a complete setup video, which gives you some insight into how I put everything together. For editing, I use DaVinci Resolve Studio, that is the paid version. There's also a free one, but for 4K exports and advanced features, the one-time payment for the studio version is well worth it. Regarding the editing process, that might actually be something I would make a dedicated video about in the future. It probably won't be as interesting as you might hope, but I like making videos about things I enjoy, so I would enjoy making that video. But just to have your actual question answered and summarized, it starts with the idea or a product. I then usually note down a few basic keywords I want to cover in the video. What do I want to say? What's the story behind this product? Why should I and therefore you care about it? After that, and playing with the product for at least a week, I then begin writing this script, which ends up being around 5 to 10 pages. Then comes the weird part where I I imagine the video. Yeah, I know, but I basically sit at my desk and read the script out loud and think about what I would want to see while I hear my own voiceover. During that process, I create a shot list of all the scenes and B-roll that I see or want to see, and right after that, I shoot it. During that process, I usually discover something new, which is why before recording the voiceover, I do one last script revision. Then comes the voice recording, followed by an editing marathon until the video is ready. Finally, I come up with a title, thumbnail, and meta description before scheduling the video for publication. How did you develop your current style? I feel like people always expect a better answer from me other than it just happened. But that's kinda it. The grey background, the minimal lighting, it wasn't a conscious decision, it happened by accident. When I decided to start, I knew I needed a lamp and got the best one I could. After turning it on for the first time and almost losing my eyesight due to its brightness, it looked cool. So I stuck with it. It just looked good out of the gate. When I needed a different surface to work on, I just flipped my mousepad because it was literally the only thing I had. So that's how the blue background came to be. Again, I liked it and I ended up using it. Still do. I hope this doesn't come across wrong, but I didn't want to have the typical YouTube setup. As much as I enjoy and admire everyone else, I wanted something different. So for almost everything I do, I just want it to be different, which can be a bit annoying sometimes if I end up changing things just for the sole sake of being different. Maybe it doesn't even look that different to some, but honestly, I'm not as professional as you might think. I stumble through this journey like a buffoon lost in a big city. Do you have any video or keyboard projects that you have scrapped or unlisted because they did not turn out the way you wanted? Never unlisted, but there are a few videos that I have scrapped. I wanted to make one about Control, one of my all-time favorite games I played a few years ago. I have no idea what I would have ended up talking about, but I just really love that game. It has one of the most amazing atmospheres and it's just amazing. Besides, the chapter introduction in that game might look a bit familiar. Then there's the Steam Deck screen replacement, although maybe I'll get to it at some point. There's also the Mojo 68, which I bought to make a video about but never did, and a couple of other boards actually, which is a pity because most of them are actually really nice. I'm also purposely not mentioning the Meshlicious upgrade because, well, that's not scrapped, it's just in waiting right now. It'll happen. How did you start the channel and what keeps you motivated? I always had an aspiration to make YouTube videos, but I never really found a topic until I just thought, screw it, I'm just gonna make it about whatever I like, which ended up being tech, which is still the driving force behind it. Mostly, I really like making videos, and at the moment it's about keyboards and gadgets, but it might change in the future. It might sound a bit cheesy, but honestly it's also your feedback. It's so overwhelmingly positive that during productions where I feel like it's not really worth it or when I hit a wall, I remember some of the nice things you said, which really gives me a boost. It's weird to have people around the planet looking forward to something you make. It's an odd feeling, but it's the best one there is. What's the future of the channel? Anything outside of keyboards? I hope I can improve the production speed in order to create more videos, which is exactly what I said last year, but in my defense, I did get faster, they just got longer too. I hope I'm not going to disappoint too many of you, but I do want to make fewer videos about keyboards in 2023. It's hard because I'm still very much interested in the topic and it's really fun, but I also have other products that finally have arrived and I really want to talk about. I also want to improve and change the style a bit. It will be the same vibe, but I want to see if I can hone in on a more consistent approach to making videos. I really appreciate the love for my intros, but you may have noticed continuously changing text styles and intro patterns. That's me experimenting, trying to find the right one. Think of it as the search for the endgame editing style. Probably a never-ending story, but I hope I can get at least close to that. I also want to change the writing a bit. Not quite sure in which direction I want to lean into, but I will be experimenting for sure in the upcoming year. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but it has been 2 years, which is a long time, really, and I think some parts could do with a refresh. And that would be it. I'm sorry if your question didn't end up on the shortlist, but check on the original post as I should have hopefully replied there. At this point, I would like to thank you again so much for sticking around, for joining and just being here along for the ride. I look forward to seeing what 2023 holds, and I hope this train is going to continue to grow with awesome people like you, and I wish you all the best for the remaining days of 2022. And with that, let's end the video with an unusual soundtrack, but I'm trying out lick.com, which allows one to use what they refer to as popular music. So if you like guitars, you're welcome. If not, for one last time, I'm very sorry. Thanks again and see you in 2023. Bye.